I would like to call to order this meeting of the Finance Personnel Committee for Tuesday, June 11th. Amy, go ahead, please, with the roll call.
Alderperson P-Rock.
Here.
Alderperson Gantz.
Here.
Mayor Boyd.
He's not here. He has a previous engagement, but he will be joining us shortly.
Alderperson Kundinger. Here. Alderperson Quigley.
Here. All right, next item, approval of minutes from the May 14th regular meeting of the Finance Personnel Committee.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving the minutes as they're presented, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And those opposed? That carries. Next is public comment upon matters not on the agenda. Any comments made during the public comment period shall pertain only to matters under the jurisdiction of the Finance and Personnel Committee. I don't see anybody here in the chamber with us. Do we have anybody online?
No, we don't do it live.
Okay. For the second time, any public comment? I guess not. If we're not. Okay. Moving ahead. Item 4, consideration and acceptance of donation from the Capital Credit Union for technical rescue equipment for the fire department in the amount of $5,700.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
I'll second.
Or you got it.
Chief Matsky, did you want to say anything about this donation, this item?
No, I really don't. I'd just like to thank Brett Jansen for taking the initiative to go after this donation.
Agreed. We appreciate it. From the committee, any questions or comments for the chief? No. All right. All those in favor of approving the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And those
Aye.
opposed? Sorry, a little fast. Motion carries. Thank you. Number 5, consideration and possible action on Interstate 41 sign design proposals. Is this Mr. Thorson's item? Again, if you want to say something, you certainly can. Okay. I would make a motion that we go ahead and approve the item in front of us. We need a second.
Well, can we talk about it a little bit? Because there's a lot of information on this one.
Always questions. Yeah.
You could technically get a second since you made a motion and then
Okay.
open for discussion.
Second.
Okay. So we have a second from Ms. Kundiger. And go ahead, your question.
Yeah, just if you more than anything, just so we have a kind of on record for being said, there are multiple proposals here and multiple price points with a low, 2 and a mid, and 1 and a very high. The recommendation coming in for one that is high. Understandably, there's more information there in the bid consideration. Have we done any work with any of the others to compare? Just a little more context into the recommendation for Elevate 97.
Sure. So when we actually sent out requests for proposals, we solicited the 7 companies. I only received 4 proposals back. Mm-hmm. 2 of those firms, Creative Signs and Fox Cities, did not meet the actual proposal submittal requirements.
Okay.
So we did not consider them any further. There's specific instructions in the proposal, what they had to submit, they did not submit it. So then we further evaluated the staff, Jones Sign and Elevate 97. Basically, we met and discussed, reviewed both the proposals for Jones and Elevate 97. Actually, and all 4 proposals submitted are in your packet. Staff basically felt that Elevate 97 provided more of a detailed sign style and sign quality in their proposal, and kind of looking to be creative on it. So really, I did reference checks on them, and they came back really strong and favorable for Elevate 97. So basically, staff is recommending, even though they're the highest, I think we felt they had the better proposal in the amount of $8,890, and these fees will be charged at TID 15. One of the things to point out to the committee, this is kind of what we want to do is actually, if awarded and the council approves, we want to basically then get going with the firm. The intent is really to come up with a design and concept that the city feels comfortable moving forward. It's either repair the existing sign or come up with the proposal for a new one. And then what we would do then, we would budget accordingly for the 2025 budget, and something that would be either repaired or replaced as part of the 2025 budget.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for that.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? All right, we have a motion and a second to go ahead with the proposal from Elevate 97. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And those opposed? Thank you very much. That motion carries. Next is number 6, consideration and possible action on development agreement terms with Valley Cabinet Incorporated for manufacturing expansion at 1840 South Broadway Street in the East Industrial Park. Mr. Lindstrom?
Would you like a presentation?
A quick overview, maybe?
Quick overview.
Is there such a thing?
All right.
Yeah.
Item in front of you
Involves
tonight
lots.
is a next step in the process for Valley Cabinet. Now, the city recently amended TID number 10 to include Valley Cabinet's area that we're talking about here tonight, and that was for that purpose. So Valley Cabinet is proposing about a 80,000 square foot expansion of their production space and also their office space as well. So the item in front of you tonight is for a TIF request, for a PAYGO TIF request, and I have all the details in your packet. I put up the site plan so that you can see the approximate location of it and some details, some renderings if you really want to get into that level of detail. But really, in short, what they're asking for here tonight is a PAYGO agreement. I did notice that in my memo I had a bit of an error from a definition standpoint. And so 2 items that you do see in bold there, which is the new anticipated tax increment versus the tax revenue. Actually, that same error just got inputted there. That's supposed to be gone. Annual tax revenue is supposed to be the 83, the increment is supposed to be 79. So just need to be flipped. So if there's going to be a recommendation tonight, just those terms just need to be amended or at least made motion in the minutes. So, but the item in front is they're looking for a total PAYGO incentive, about $375,000 cumulative total over the remaining life of the district. How it's preliminarily broken down is it's about 63% of the annual increment. There's not many years of life left into TID number 10, and that's the reason why it's a little higher than what some of our other PAYGO agreements are, because those were at the beginning stages of a TID. But overall, from an overall value standpoint, you're looking at about a 7% of the assessed value of the project. So that's below what we normally are at for some projects. And again, it's just because of the life of the tax increment district. So they're looking at that as at about 63% of the available annual increment. However, that's on the, I guess what I would call the rosy picture, meaning the amount of revenue generated. That's our ceiling, our cap. But if it doesn't reach that amount by the total life of the district, we won't be obligated to make up that gap because the property owner made the benefit of not having to pay those taxes because of the mill rate or whatever else. So as a result, that's our ceiling, but we won't have to make up any payments on that one. So that's what's being proposed here tonight. The proposed terms are in your packet. You see the overall site plan approval timeline. They actually had their groundbreaking today, if you want to see the news. Assessed value growth, you do see those targets and thresholds in there. And one additional item that I didn't have in these both two is in order for us to meet the requirements to review the analysis of their total submittal proposals, once the project is done, we just need a summary of expense report. Whether or not that's a certified public accountant providing that report, we just need to see it so that what they told us their expenses were, they met those requirements. And if there isn't, then we need to come back to the Finance Committee to make a revision. And then ours is the PAYGO agreement, 63% annually cumulative with $375,000.
Okay, thank you. It looks like an exciting project. How many employees is Valley Cabinet, do you know?
Right now, about 300.
And this would expand?
This would expand, yes. It would be ramped up over time.
Okay.
So I had it in the memo. They are a De Pere area-based business, but they located one of our first businesses in the business park many, many years ago in the 1960s and 70s. So, and they've owned this land for quite a few years.
Do we need a motion?
Yes.
Okay, any other questions? I would make a motion that we approve the terms as presented here tonight.
With the small revision that was.
With the revision, thank you.
Second.
Okay, again, any other questions? All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And those opposed? And that motion carries. Thank you. Next, Mr. Lindstrom again. Consideration, possible action on development agreement with terms with Crosspoint Church for a relocated and expanded landscape supply business. New Land LLC doing business as Green Bay Nursery at 2108 and 2118 Lawrence Drive.
Thank you. This is going to be a little bit of a confusing one when it comes to naming, so stick with me with some of these names here. Crosspoint Church Inc. is different than Crosspoint Church. I just want to make sure that's on the front end under this one. This is their, I guess you'd say, a business arm similar to what we've seen with other churches in the area that have a different profit arm to help supplement their mission. And as a result, the Crosspoint Church Inc. is created and is in partnering with Land LLC, which was an LLC created to purchase and acquire the Green Bay Nursery, which has now been relocated, I guess you would say, or in the process of being relocated to De Pere, as they were bought out and from their Military Avenue location. So they're proposing to relocate here and transition a property in our business, or in our TID 15, from a residential property, low tax generating residential property, to a commercial property. And so that's what's been proposed. They went through the comp plan amendment process, rezoning, conditional use permit, and site plan process at this time. So I just did put the information up there. This one's a little bit different from what our normals are because of most of the time our projects are based off of improvement value. This one, just the sale and transition to a commercial property, increased the value from about $500,000 to $1.4 million. So it's just one of those opportunities to help them move forward. Now, our zoning code did require a significant amount of requirements for our landscape business. First time we've ever added. We added a bunch of conditions that typically may not have been seen in other communities. So we had a lot more berming requirements, a lot more things to protect the neighborhoods in that area. So that did come at a cost. And so as a result, they are requesting about a $110,000 grant, upfront cash grant. And so I did put all the information in the packet here. But you can see the current assessed value, the growth value, new increment is available there. And then what the new payments would be and what the overall tax payment would be for the entire property, including the base value. They're requesting that upfront cash grant. It's about 11% of the new growth that's already been achieved, I guess you'd say. And so at this point, our conditions are very similar to what you saw on the previous slide, which is the proposed development timelines, the guaranteed revenue amounts. We also did add this one, the change of use, meaning if it is what could be considered I don't want to say temporary use, but a more transient use, i.e. if somebody came in with a large dollar amount, they could be moved because of the Southern Bridge and stuff like that. We don't want to see our money then be lost in that aspect. And so if they ultimately are bought out or moved or have to go, they would be returning a prorated amount of the grant back to the city at that time. And the reason for that, again, is because it's not tied to a specific hard investment, but a more increment growth from the actual sale of the property. And so they do also need to submit an expense report prior to receiving any funds. And our single obligation here would be the cash grant upfront upon completion of the project.
Thank you. Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or discussion on the motion? All those in favor of going ahead with the agreement on terms, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And those opposed? Thank you. That motion carries. And number 8, consideration and possible action on the 24-25 property tax bill preparation agreement with Brown County. Finance Director, Ms. Manley, give us a little overview, please.
So this agreement is something that the city would have signed the last couple years as we did tax collection. So the only change with this year is that we've removed personal property. The state has gotten rid of personal property going forward, so with the next tax roll, we will not have that. So the city attorney recommended that we just update this because there had been some slight revisions the last couple of years, and so we could just bring this back to finalize it. And then going forward, if it's all right with you guys, we'll just continue to sign the agreement as long as there are no substantive changes that the attorney finds.
So is that what we're voting on tonight, is to approve this one and then to roll it forward? Is that in the language?
If that works, yes.
With option A.
Yeah,
With option A.
Option A.
yes.
Oh, thank
We'll
you.
have them mail the bills
right.
for us.
I got it. Okay. Any discussion, any questions about the proposal? Again, I would make a motion to go ahead and approve with staff recommendation to approve option A.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And those opposed? Thank you. That motion carries. And next one is consideration possible action on an agreement with Finance System of Green Bay.
So as you guys may recall, I got the state debt collection approved last year for collections. The downside of using state debt collection is that you actually are required to have some personal information from the person to be able to use it. So you have to have a driver's license number, social security number, birth date, stuff like that, that we can usually get when we have, traffic reports because there's an accident and they've damaged our property. So we're able to use that for any collections. In this case, though, I have delinquent personal property that we've been unable to collect for the last few years. So municipalities are required to try to collect for the personal property while the county takes over the real estate collection. So on these, there are several years. We can only go back 5 years. So there are some that we've already said we can't do. Out of the 5 years, we're still over $7,000 of principal alone that we're trying to collect. So we've used finance systems of Green Bay in the past, from what I've been told. But when we went to submit it, the agreement that they sent back to us was 30 years old. So I thought we should probably update that in case there's anything else that comes up in the future that we'd like to use them for as well. So I'm just proposing that you guys accept this agreement with Green Bay Finance System of Green Bay. They're a local company. They've done collections for us in the past, just for this personal property stuff for now at least. And if they can collect something, that's better than nothing. So.
Agreed. Okay, I would take a motion. Okay. Anyone?
I'll second.
Okay, I'll make the
make the
motion.
motion.
Okay, go ahead. Alderperson Gantz with the motion and Kundiger with the second. Any other questions or comments before we vote? All those in favor of this motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And those opposed? Thank you very much. Number 10?
Yep.
Thank you. Consideration and possible action on increasing the donation acceptance threshold requiring committee and council approval.
I can talk on this one again quick. We just, through the staff discussions, coming back for $250, $500, these small amounts to get approval every time kind of slows down our process of being able to just accept the money and do what we want to do with the money. So we're requesting that we bump that up to just over $1,000, $1,001, $1,000 and a penny, whatever you want to call it, and limit the number of times we have to come back, and maybe get some more donations.
Okay, I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. Any questions, any comments? All those in favor of the motion to increase the threshold for, yeah, I can say this, donation acceptance threshold, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And opposed? And next one, it's the Pam show.
Yes, I got a lot.
Item 11, consideration and possible action on approval of the preliminary 2024 borrowing.
So we do this every year. This is the list of the projects that we requested to be borrowed for in the 2024 budget. As the year has progressed, there are some things we've just decided we're not going to be able to do. There are some things that have come in under where we budgeted. So this is a revised list of the projects we are looking or proposing to bond for here. If you guys approve this today, we will move it forward to July's meeting and have Baird, our bond counsel, review all those projects and give us the timeline of what they're recommending.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
Thank you. Again, any questions? Appreciate the work to put all this together. All those in favor of approving the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And opposed? And that motion carries. Consideration and possible action on creation of an ordinance regarding the refund of certain overpayments to the City of De Pere.
Me again. So this stemmed from Parks and Rec, actually. When they switched over their systems, there were a lot of accounts that had overpayments or balances on them from their old system. And as we reviewed those, many of them are very minute, under $10, and years and years and years old. So we're proposing that instead of cutting checks back to all these people, trying to contact them, who knows if they even live at those addresses still, that we just approve this policy and only refund those items that are over $10 unless specifically requested within 3 years of when that overpayment occurred. Mm-hmm. Now, this would also affect our tax overpayments. If we get a check, they wrote it out for $2 more than they owed, we're not going to issue them a refund for that $2. It's not worth the staff time to issue that check. Mm-hmm. So we would just put that in our cash short and over account.
Makes sense.
$10 is where like it really changes as far as drop off goes, not 25 or.
We actually had the law department research this, so Angela in the law department used some other policies from other communities. She went out there and did the research, and she found that 10 was kind of that max. We didn't go over that.
Okay.
I guess it depends on the situation of how long it would take to actually create a refund. You got your basic costs, your bank costs, your check costs.
Yeah.
But the staff time could vary depending on what you're doing. So.
Yeah.
And it's kind of hard to imagine somebody's going to get upset about $9.
Well,
But-
you don't know.
Well, I understand that, but
And if they request it within the 3 years, we will
Right,
cut the
right.
check. But otherwise, we're not going to go out there and research where they are to be able to issue them that refund.
yep, understood.
And
Any
now
other-
they just heard that, so they're gonna all be,
Now they're all going to come request, yeah.
Nobody watches.
Okay.
Good.
Information is
That's all right.
good. That's okay.
Yep.
Yeah, it makes sense to me. I would make a motion to approve.
Second.
Any other questions? Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
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 And those opposed? Motion carries. 13?
Yep.
Okay. Consideration and possible action on the City of De Pere investment and cash detail. This might just be a place on file.
In summary, we're doing well, yes. We want to receive and place on file.
The bills are getting paid. This is
And
good
the
to know.
interest rate's still remaining up there, so we're doing well.
Very good.
I'd move to approve.
I'll say it. See how fast I said that? So fast. So
all those
fast.
all those in favor, say aye.
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 And those opposed? And that motion carries. Number 14, future agenda items. Any thoughts? I just wonder if there should be an attendance requirement for the mayor, but maybe we won't put that in there. I guess that's why we have a vice chair or whatever. Future agenda items? All right, hearing none, I would make a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Right?
I made a motion.
Well, you
I'll
made it.
second.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mess that one up.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I know
And those
you were
opposed?
trying so hard.
And we are adjourned.